Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive right into the top story this hour on Republic Superfast 50. With Republic breaking the big National Herald scam exposes and the Congress retaining its silence on specific aspects of the purported scam, Republic has now confronted Rahul Gandhi. Amid Congress's protests against the centre, Rahul ducked and dodged Republic's questions on the National Herald case and the Enforcement Directorate.
मुझे सवाल पूछने दीजिए वो देंगे जवाब आप आने दीजिए ना उधर ये काले प्रोटेस्ट Mr. Gandhi, would you take couple of questions on ED?
Please don't waste your time. Please don't waste your time.
Mr. Gandhi, would you take couple of questions on ED? Rahul, would you take couple of questions on ED? Rahul, did you put the onus on Motilal Vora, who is no more to defend himself? Mr. Gandhi, did you put the onus during questioning on Motilal Vora, who is no more there to defend himself?
Sporting a black armband during his presser, Rahul Gandhi failed to answer in any specific terms on the National Herald case in which he and his mother Sonia Gandhi have been extensively questioned by the ED.
एक काम कीजिए, अगर आपको मौका मिले, जो ईडी ऑफिसर्स ने मुझे इंटेरोगेट किया, उनसे आप जाके बात कीजिए, वो आपको बता देंगे क्या हुआ उस कमरे में.
Cornered over his alleged role in the National Herald case, former Congress President Rahul Gandhi launched a frontal attack against the Modi government. Addressing a press conference at the AICC headquarters in the national capital, he fear-mongered about the condition of democracy in India and claimed that all institutions are controlled by the RSS.
लोकतंत्र आज हिंदुस्तान में नहीं है, खत्म हो गया है. Democracy is now a memory in India. It is nothing more. And there are consequences to this. You will see there are going to be devastating consequences to this. Because the people of India are not just going to keep quiet.
Addressing a press conference at the AICC headquarters in the national capital, Rahul Gandhi spoke about unemployment and how people are still without any kind of jobs and questioned the Startup India policy as well. He added that institutions in India are under the RSS control and that there is financial monopoly of the BJP and RSS.
हिंदुस्तान का आज हर इंस्टीट्यूशन इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है. हिंदुस्तान का हर इंस्टीट्यूशन आज आरएसएस के कंट्रोल में है. आरएसएस का एक व्यक्ति हर इंस्टीट्यूशन में बैठा है.
Responding to Rahul Gandhi's bizarre attack on startups in India, BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad made a scathing counter-attack at Rahul Gandhi, questioning the Congress leader on various nuances of startups.
साइंटिस्ट ने वैक्सीन बनाया, ये वैक्सीन भारतीयों को भी मिली और दुनिया के 80 से अधिक देशों में गई. आपने उसका भी मजाक बनाया. देश को जगाने के लिए यह कहा गया कि हम लोग सब लोग बताएं, वैक्सीन लें और अपनी फोटो अपलोड करें ताकि देश की जनता को प्रेरणा मिले. आपने और आपके नेताओं ने कभी किया क्या? यह है आपका संस्थाओं का सम्मान, राहुल गांधी.
Congress MP Rahul Gandhi along with Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was detained by police during a protest against the central government on price rise and unemployment in Delhi after launching a protest march from Parliament House to Rashtrapati Bhavan against issues of inflation, unemployment and GST on food items, but also as per the BJP against the Vadra Gandhi's predicament in the National Herald case.
144 है, इसीलिए उनको ब्रीफ किया गया है यहाँ पे नहीं करना है करके. वी हैव इंस्ट्रक्टेड, हम गाड़ी आ रही है, थोड़ा हट जाइए. इंस्ट्रक्ट किया है कि यहाँ पे नहीं करना है, वो माने नहीं, इसीलिए हमें एज ए प्रोहिबिटरी तौर पे उनको डिटेन करना पड़ा.
Amid the party's protest today, several Congress workers have been detained while cadres of the women's wing of the Congress party were also seen cooking vegetables and making rotis on the street.
Who do not believe in democracy in their own party. They are talking of democracy, and people who when emergency was thrown on the people, they are talking of democracy. and it is really ridiculous. And whatever is happening, it is happening.
Like you saw in one of the sharpest attacks on Rahul Gandhi, and the ruling BJP Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Pralhad Joshi called the Congress leader a Nakli Gandhi whose ideology was fake as well. The BJP leader's comments came after Rahul Gandhi hurled a litany of charges against the Modi government, which the BJP claims are to divert attention from the probe against the top leaders by the investigative agency.
Karti, why is this becoming about ED? Karti, why is it becoming about Enforcement Directorate? Karti, why is it becoming about Enforcement Directorate? How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Karti, you are under investigation. You should be open about speaking about it. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scanner. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scanner, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
I have no comments.
Karti, you should be able to speak about it. How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores rupees party? Karti, the Congress party should be taking some questions. When you are raising the issue of ED, those questions have to be answered. Why Mr. Motilal Vora was never named till the time he was alive? Why did he become the source of all actions only after he was dead? He's not there. He's not there to answer the questions. Karti, you are under ED scanner. You would want to answer those questions. Karti,
Have a good day. Have a good.
why this silence, Karti? From the press conference, Mr. Gandhi was raising the issue. Mr. Ashok Gehlot was raising the issue of ED investigation. Why name Mr. Motilal Vora when he's not there?
Have a good day. Have a good.
Please answer these questions, Karti.
Not obligated to answer.
Please answer these questions, Karti. We have.
Congress leader Salman Khurshid made a massive admission amid the Congress's claim of protesting against price rise and said that he is at the protest to save his leader.
परिवार नहीं है, वो परिवार नहीं रखते। परिवार को बचाने के लिए मैं क्यों आऊंगा? मैं अपने नेता को बचाने के लिए आऊंगा। मेरा नेता मुझे बचाता है। अगर इसको वो परिवार की परिभाषा बना देते हैं तो मुझे कोई उसमें कष्ट नहीं।
Wearing black clothes, Congress members of Parliament, including former party chief Rahul Gandhi, staged a protest at the Parliament House complex and took out a march towards the Rashtrapati Bhavan as part of their nationwide stir against what they claimed was price rise, the GST hike on essential items, and unemployment. Take a look.
काला एक अच्छा रंग है। मुझे किसी जोशी ने बताया कि आज काला कपड़े पहन के चले जाओ तो सामने बैठे भाजपाइयों को अकल आ जाएगी और वो महंगाई पर रोक लगा देंगे। अडानी महंगा हो रहा है, दिन ब दिन सबसे अमीर बन रहा है एशिया का, और हमारे आम जनता 2 जून की रोटी को तरस रही है, गरीब हो रही है, महंगाई की मार चल रही। तो इनको शुद्धिकरण के लिए, इनकी बुद्धि का शुद्धिकरण हो, इसलिए काला पहना है।
Rajya Sabha proceedings witnessed constant adjournments as Congress members created an uproar on price rise and unemployment but tried to claim that their protests have nothing to do with the ED's crackdown in the Nat'l Herald case.
बीजेपी को मौका देंगे, आप लोग अपना सीट पे जाइए, शांत रहिए। दर्ज उपभोक्ता मामले तो रिकॉर्ड में जाएगा नहीं।
Union
नियम नहीं है, सभापति पर प्रस्तुत करता हूँ, ऐसा कोई नियम नहीं है।
Gandhi and said that he along with Congress party are not serious about the parliament session and are in fact causing the ruckus.
संसद का मानसून सत्र चल रहा है, उसमें तो सीरियस नहीं है राहुल गांधी। उनकी पार्टी ने महंगाई पे चर्चा मांगी, वो तो उपस्थित ही नहीं थे।
Rajya Sabha chairperson and Vice President of India Venkaiah Naidu said that members of parliament cannot claim immunity from being arrested, detained or questioned in criminal cases, citing the reason of parliamentary house duties. The monetary
true constitutional provision is that, so far as valid order of detention is concerned, no member of parliament can claim no special status higher than that of an ordinary citizen and is as such liable to be arrested, detained or questioned during even this session.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India has unanimously decided to raise the repo rate by 50 basis points to 5.4% in order to contain persistently high inflation. Today's hike takes the repo rate above pre-pandemic levels of 5.15%.
The MPC decided unanimously to increase the policy repo rate by 50 basis points, 50 basis points to 5.4% with immediate effect. Consequently, the standing deposit facility, that is SDF rate, stands adjusted to 5.15%, and the marginal standing facility, that is MSF rate, and the bank rate stand revised to 5.65%.
Amid the arrest of former West Bengal Minister Partha Chatterjee, ex-TMC leader and the former General Secretary of West Bengal College and Universities Professors Association, Baisakhi Banerjee, alleged grave irregularities and corruption in educational institutions during Chatterjee's tenure. She claimed that there was a syndicate working under the WBCUPA that added a price tag to the college-university sub-post.
कुछ दिन बाद वही आदमी और भी पावरफुल तरीके से एजुकेशन सेक्टर में वापस आ रहे थे और मुझे समझ में आया कि ये भ्रष्टाचार यहाँ पे ख़त्म नहीं होगा, आगे जाके और भी खराब रूप देखने वाले थे.
A goods train going from Islampur to Patna overturned in Ekangarsarai in Bihar, and due to this, an atmosphere of panic was created. As soon as the officials received the information, they reached the spot and then started the investigation into the matter, plus providing relief. No casualty has been reported in this accident so far, mercifully. 11 people died and several people fell ill after allegedly consuming spurious liquor in Bihar's Saran district. The district magistrate of Saran and police officials took stock of the situation and visited the nearby hospitals to check on the victims. Parents have also protested regarding this tragedy.
यहाँ पर पास हो, यहाँ पर पहुंचे और भी तबीयत खराब है क्या हो रहा है? वो मिली है, जिन्होंने पूरी टीम वहाँ पर ले ली है, मेडिकल टीम भी गई है गाँव में, सब लोग जांच कर रहे हैं. किस तरह की मेडिकल व्यवस्था कराई जा रही है सर? नहीं, हम लोगों ने मेडिकल टीम भेजी है, जहाँ पर पूरा गाँव में जो इलाका है वहाँ पर पूरा मेडिकल टीम भेजा है ताकि घरों घरों में जाके जांच किया जा सके.
The killing of BJP youth activist Praveen Nettaru and the consequent anger among party workers in Karnataka were among the issues that Union Home Minister Amit Shah discussed with top state BJP leaders during his visit to Karnataka. Due to the lack of a bridge on the Daman River in Nasik, several students had to swim or were carried on the shoulders of adults to reach their school situated in a village of Nasik. According to sources, the locals had already made request to the administration to build a bridge as the water is very deep and it becomes difficult for the parents to carry their kids on their shoulders every day just for them to reach school. Also, viewers, on the 3rd anniversary of the abrogation of Article 370 of the Constitution, former Jammu and Kashmir Deputy Chief Minister and BJP leader Kavinder Gupta stated that abrogation ended the dynasty politics, terrorism and separatism in the valley.
धारा 370 के कारण से अलगाववाद, आतंकवाद, भ्रष्टाचार, परिवारवाद वो ख़त्म हुआ है, वो इनको शायद अच्छा नहीं लगता. यही कारण है कि ये आज दोबारा उस प्रकार से 370 की बात करते हैं और ये 370 कभी वापस आने वाला नहीं है, ये अपने जहन में रखें.
As Jammu and Kashmir marks 3 years since the abrogation of Article 370, Omar Abdullah continues to play politics. He took to Twitter and said that he will continue the peaceful struggle using all legal and constitutional means to challenge the abrogation of Article 370. Indian Army's Chief General Manoj Pandey is visiting Jammu on the 3rd anniversary of abrogation of Articles 370 and 35A on a 2-day visit. As per reports, he will be briefed about the prevailing security scenario and counter-terror mechanism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with top ministers in Parliament to discuss the government strategy. Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, Pralhad Joshi and Anurag Thakur were among those present. The Enforcement Directorate conducted searches at 6 places in Chennai in connection with the Chinese visa scam case in which Karti Chidambaram is also an accused. The CRPF stationed in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch launched the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign, wherein the Jawans along with local school teachers and students took part in the rally ahead of India's 75th Independence Day.
I don't know the...
After newly sworn in, West Bengal Minister Babul Supriyo cried foul over the absence of West Bengal MPs in the Union Cabinet. BJP National Vice President DILIP GHOSH took a hit back at him. Taking a swipe at Supriyo, DILIP GHOSH contested that one needs to be capable in order to become a Union Cabinet Minister. The Indian Meteorological Department declared a red alert in 8 districts of Kerala as rain continued to lash various parts of the state. The IMD issued a red alert for the day in the districts of Kottayam, Idukki, Thrissur, Palakkad and Kannur, and an orange alert in remaining districts except for Thiruvananthapuram. Several parts of the national capital witnessed rains, bringing a slight respite from the warm and humid weather. While the Weather Office has predicted more rains for the next 2 days, areas that witnessed showers include isolated places in Lutyens, Delhi near India Gate, Sansad Marg, ITO, Palam, Shadara, Dilshad Garden, Pitampura and Najafgarh, among others. According to the Union Health Ministry, India has reported over 20,000 fresh COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, taking the total tally to over 5.5 crore so far, while the national COVID-19 recovery rate was recorded at 98.5%. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha condemned the cowardly terror attack on labourers in Pulwama. Taking note of the situation, LG Sinha assured of punishment to the terrorists after one labourer died and 2 others were injured in a grenade attack on Thursday night. A special task force has recovered one improvised explosive device placed in a polythene bag under a tree beside a hotel on the Shahabad-Ambala highway. According to officials, one person has been arrested in connection with the matter, while further investigations are underway. Samajwadi Party MLA Ziaur Rahman has demanded the introduction of Islamic Studies at Banaras Hindu University. The SP MLA said that a course in Islamic Studies in BHU should be there just the same way as Sanatan Dharma education has been implemented at Aligarh Muslim University.
अलीगढ़ के साथ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी का नाम जुड़ा हुआ है, मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी है वहाँ पर, तो वहाँ पे इस्लामिक स्टडीज़ की पढ़ाई होना कोई गलत तो है नहीं, लेकिन मैं समझता हूँ कि अगर आप EMU के अंदर सनातन की स्टडीज़ को अगर लागू कराते हो तो फिर BH यूनिवर्सिटी है, मैं कहता हूँ कि उसके अंदर भी इस्लामिक स्टडीज़ की भी दुनिया की जो पढ़ाई है उसमें भी मिलनी चाहिए। ऐसा भेदभाव क्यों?
Free medical camp in Kathua district of Jammu and Kashmir, where timely diagnosis and treatment of ill patients is the objective behind organizing the camp. BSF doctors and civilian doctors together were in charge of the camp.
ये ऐसा है कि यहाँ पे हर साल की तरह आज फ्री मेडिकल कैंप यहाँ पे लगाया गया। इसके साथ साथ सिविल से भी डॉक्टर आए हुए हैं और हमारे BSF के हैं, कम से कम 5 डॉक्टर हैं और एक लेडीज़ डॉक्टर अलग से है जो महिलाओं की चेकिंग करेगी। इनके बाद जो यहाँ पे गांव के लोग आए हैं उनके लिए भी ये दवा कर रहे हैं।
Congress Member of Parliament Gaurav Gogoi gave an adjournment motion notice in the Lok Sabha to discuss the India-China border issue, further stating that the union government should clarify its stance on a restoration of status quo prevailing at the line of actual control. Shots were fired at the Mall of America in suburban Minneapolis, sending shoppers running for cover, but police said that they did not immediately find a victim. Bloomington police said that they were still searching for a suspect after securing the scene of the shooting.
I just heard like rumbling from above me, and honestly I just knew something bad was gonna happen, and I was on my way to get water, and I look around and everyone's like grabbing their kids and just running towards the back exits basically. And that's really all I saw.
US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi met with Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on the final leg of her Asian tour that included earlier stops in Singapore, Malaysia and South Korea. Her trip to Tokyo comes days after she became the first US House Speaker to visit Taiwan, very crucially, in 25 years, enraging China. US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that China will not isolate Taiwan by preventing US officials from traveling there. She made the remarks in Tokyo on the final leg of her Asia tour, highlighted by her visit to Taiwan that infuriated China. Pelosi also said that her visit was being used as an excuse for China to carry out military provocation in the area.
Let me close by saying this. The Chinese have tried to isolate Taiwan, keeping them most recently from the World Health Organization by not even letting their participation be on the agenda of the World Health Agency, whatever that makes these determinations. They may try to keep Taiwan from visiting or participating in other places, but they will not isolate Taiwan by preventing us to travel there.
Several thieves ambushed an armored vehicle in broad daylight and opened fire on the armed guards, critically injuring one in a Southern California casino's parking lot before fleeing with cash. At least 2 suspects armed with handguns and a rifle remained at large hours after the shooting.
Know that our investigators are, actively seeking the suspects, and as it stands right now, our community, is safe. Yes, we had an incident, but overall our community is safe.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy denounced a report by Amnesty International stating that Ukraine's military tactics have put civilian lives at risk. The so-called human rights organization said that Ukraine's tactic of positioning rocket launchers and missile pads in the vicinity of residential buildings needlessly endangered citizens' lives and violated established rules of war. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban called on the Biden administration in America to engage in talks with Moscow over the war in Ukraine. Orban told the gathering that an average of 10,000 Ukrainian refugees are entering Hungary each day, although most traveled further into Europe.
The attack of Russia against Ukraine has forced close to 1 million refugees to Hungary so far. Currently, more than 10,000 refugees every day. The majority of these refugees ventures further into Europe, but 1 million people entering a country of 10 million is a lot. In my view, the globalist leader strategy escalates and prolongs war and decreases the chance of peace.
British Conservative leader and PM hopeful Rishi Sunak said his party needed to get real and fast in tackling issues with the economy. Sunak said proposals from his fellow candidate Liz Truss to tackle growing inflation would put fuel on the fire and cause misery for millions.
Party need to get real and fast because the lights on the economy are flashing red and the root cause is inflation. Now, I'm worried that Liz Truss's plans will make the situation worse. And what I want to do is different. I think the government's #1 priority should be grappling with inflation. That's what I want to do.
The White House condemned China's precision missile strikes in waters off Taiwan's coast and insisted the administration will not be deterred from operating in the seas and the skies of the Western Pacific.
People's Republic of China launched an estimated 11 ballistic missiles towards Taiwan, which impacted to the northeast, the east, and southeast of the island. We condemn these actions, which are irresponsible and at odds with our long-standing goal of maintaining peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and in the region. China has chosen to overreact and use the speaker's visit as a pretext to increase provocative military activity in and around the Taiwan Strait.
The Colombian Truth Commission unveiled more than 15,000 declassified documents from US government agencies containing secret information about Colombia. The files contain intel reports and communications between US government agencies since 1940 on illegal armed groups and the fight against drug trafficking, for which the US has spent billions of dollars. Efforts to rescue 10 miners trapped in a collapsed and flooded coal mine in northern Mexico intensified with hundreds of people involved in the operation. The collapse occurred after the miners breached a neighboring area filled with water. India made sure of top spot in Pool B in the CWG men's hockey after a 4-1 win over Wales and will now face New Zealand in the semi-finals, meaning England must take on Australia in the other semi. There was double cycling joy for Australia during the early action on day 7 of the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham as Rohan Dennis and Grace Brown respectively won the men's and women's road time trial races. Sri Shankar Murli shrugged off the disappointment of missing out on the men's long jump gold at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham as he reflected on winning India's first medal in the event. Listen in. Borussia Dortmund players are preparing for their Bundesliga clash with Bayer Leverkusen. It is Dortmund head coach Edin Terzic's return to the helm after he led the club as interim manager in the second half of the 2020-2021 season. Bayern Munich players, including Sadio Mane, who will be making his Bundesliga debut, trained ahead of their seasonal opener away to Europa League winners Eintracht Frankfurt. Bayern will be hoping that the arrival of Mane from England's Liverpool can compensate for the loss of Polish striker Robert Lewandowski, who has joined Spanish giants Barcelona.